On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we have seen the first episode of Star Trek Picard!
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I know! Right after this.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm David C. Robertson. Like, dude, I lost my voice for a second. I was like,
Yeah, so pumped, man. This is the Trek I've been looking for, man. This was nothing in it wasn't Star Trek. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also, like, clearly is new. It's updated. It feels like a modern show with the actors and the characters I love and storylines that I'm incredibly interested in because of both nostalgic affection, but also it's just good storytelling. And if you're listening to this, you've probably already seen Picard, but we are posting this like 2 hours after it drops. So spoiler free, just give me some thoughts, Dave. What do you think?
Spoiler free. It is everything I wanted to be so far and more. I don't have a negative thing about it. I have nothing negative to say so far about this thing.
This is a strange position to be in. We've been covering a lot of Trek, and with the exception of some episodes, most everything we're like, well, this is good, but here are the things we have problems with. I don't have a problem with this.
About 15 minutes in, I went to go get some food. And my wife has not been able to sit down and watch it yet. And she was like, how is it? And I was like, oh, it's awful. I'm not watching it anymore. It's not canon. They've just ruined canon. She's like, really? I said, no, it's great.
Yeah. They did kind of steer clear of canon for the most part, which is like, well, I mean, not out of canon. I should say like aesthetics. They steered clear of most of the Star Trek aesthetics. We got very little like Star Trek ships, at least classic ones. It's almost all new, except for the Enterprise D.
Well, we did get like, as far as I could tell, the Stargazer perfectly. In the Enterprise E in
the ship. You're right, in the ship form. Yeah, that's true.
In the little the quantum storage unit or whatever it was.
That was neat.
Yeah.
Quantum storage
was awesome.
Unit. How cool was that?
Captain Picard Day. They knew exactly what to do to get me all on board, man. They just knew exactly the things.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay, so it's great. It's wonderful. Let's dive in spoilers because there's really not much to say except it's just great in a non-spoiler way. So, spoiler time.
Okay.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this show, man. It's just great. It's just great.
That is not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. We don't have to jump right into spoiler. I don't know what do you always say. It's Data's daughter. That's the big spoiler. That's the big thing. We've got Data's daughter, and even a bigger spoiler is she dies, which I could not believe. I could not believe they like actually killed her off. I thought it was going to be, she's an AI, so I thought, oh, she's going to have moved her consciousness, or there's going to be multiple versions of her, and that's kind of the case. There's multiple versions of her, but it's not her. It's a different version of the daughter who has, who has lived a different life. So this was an individual who died, and that was tragic, absolutely tragic.
Yeah, that was rough, and I thought maybe they were going to somehow trick us with that, but nope. That's sad. Yeah,
it's really sad. Her horrifying death seems like it was real, and I didn't expect that. Honestly, I'm still kind of in shock about it. And I'm still kind of reeling from that moment. Her, because she's terrified. It's really awful. I hate it, and like I know from like a production standpoint, it's like, oh, she was sort of the proto Soji or whatever, and like from now on we're gonna know this other character. But man, I cared about her from the very beginning, like from the moment she's sitting and having the wine with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend dies, and she freaks out, and all the conversations Picard had to have with her, where he's trying to explain to her that she's an android. Like, she died terrified, man. Died terrified, not knowing who or what she was. Like,
yep.
The story of Dodge is awful.
That was rough, man. That was super rough.
And when Law finally meets Picard and he realizes who she is, and one of the most moving speech was, "You are dear to me in ways you cannot understand. I will never leave you." Picard says, "Oh." That like, I started to cry at that moment, and then 2 minutes later in the episode, she's dead. I was just,
yep.
Oh, I'm heartbroken over the death of Dodge. And all my little theories and like thinking about what's going on with this character, who is she, all of that just kind of falls by the wayside, and I care, you know?
Yeah, that was really well done.
Yeah.
And now I've got to worry about this other girl. This, what was her name? Soji Asha was her name. Yeah, I've got to worry about her, and she's working in a friggin' Romulan Borg cube. What is happening? Yeah,
well, no, I don't know that it's a Romulan Borg cube.
There was a Romulan
That's
symbol.
True. You're right. There were Romulan ships as well going in and out. Mm-hmm. But it seems, he said, what does he say? You spend your day fixing broken people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's okay. Just diving into the Mars of it all and the rogue synth attack.
Man, I was mad at that reporter lady. I was mad at that interviewer.
Oh yeah, it was, me too.
I was like, that man specifically said no.
Well, okay. No. That's different though. She got him to talk about it. Actually, I wasn't mad at that. I was only mad because I was like being defensive of Picard. But she actually asks questions about Data to try to get him to talk about the rogue synth attack instead of actually asking him about it. So she actually pulled a little trick on him.
Oh, I don't think that was... No, she straight out was like asking him, and what's the real reason you left Starfleet? Like, she was going for it, dude. Like,
maybe I missed that. I didn't miss it, but I've only seen this once so far, so I'm gonna...
I mean, I've only seen it once too.
Oh, I know. But I kind of didn't catch that. Yeah, I was mad at her too, but the rogue synth attack... I feel like this is another mystery that we've got. We kind of solved the mystery of Dodge to some degree. I mean, solved the mystery of Dodge, and Dodge is gone, but now we know she's a sister. So now we have this story setting up where Picard is in the search of his like sort of goddaughter, as it were. Mm-hmm. Which is, man, I love it. I love it so much.
Here's something that I find interesting, and I mean, we were just talking about how. Or maybe we weren't. I don't remember. Data uploaded when Law died. He uploaded her memories into him.
Yes,
and he uploaded his memories into B4. But if he was still talking to Maddox, and I love that they're talking about Maddox. I love that we don't know where he is
so much.
Oh my god!
The fact that Maddox could show up in the real. I said it in our cast about Measure of a Man, 15 weeks ago or whatever. I said that they need, if they're going to have an institute where they have all these androids, they need to mention Maddox, or even if it's just named the Maddox Institute or something like that. And sure enough, we get a mention of Maddox in an institute talking about androids. I was like, yes, this is so good.
Yes. Now, here's the thing, though. I don't know. I was just thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, like, we never got on-screen confirmation, I don't think, but... How much you want to bet that Data uploaded lore into his own positronic system before or after he shut lore down? Because
that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. What if they make the twins, these two twins, and he goes after he meets Dodge and he tries to protect her, fails in protecting her, and then goes after her twin, but she's actually somehow like a lore clone instead of a Data clone.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. But I don't want it to be true. Yeah. Because I really want this. I really want this to be a, successor to Data that we can care about. I had, for some reason, we would rewatch so much of Star Trek, and so much related to what we'd seen. For some reason today, I sat down and I was like, you know what, the episode I did not watch, and for some reason I feel like I should, is The Offspring.
The Offspring, yeah.
Which, and I sat down this afternoon and watched it, and that's the episode with Lal, and she dies. And when this episode, when she said daughter, I was, well, first off, when we meet Daj, and she says she majored in artificial intelligence and quantum consciousness, I was like, oh, she's an android. Oh, she's Lal. Mm-hmm. She is Lal. She's 100% Lal. Like that was, and then when they said it was daughter, I was like so in that she was Lal, and then I thought about the episode because I literally watched it tonight. And what happens in that episode is the Admiral comes after Lal and says he's going to take her away, and then she suddenly dies. And I was like, oh my gosh, Data faked Lal's death to escape, the Federation testing on her. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was where we were going, but no, but it totally made sense. So as soon as she said that about her being consciousness expert or whatever, android consciousness expert, I was like, oh, she's Lal. And then as soon as she started fighting, I was like, no, she's River.
Yeah, I knew you were going to make that connection. She's River Tam.
River Tam from Firefly, yeah. This was absolutely a River Tam moment. She got activated and goes off. I loved it.
Yeah, that was great. Now, yeah, but if I understood it correctly, she's pretty much like the culmination. Like they could regrow Data's entire memory banks from her or from her sister, right? That's what I don't know exactly. The whole science explanation was really dicey.
That was the one part. Okay, we said we had nothing negative to say, and I have almost nothing negative to say. But the one thing was that whole scientific explanation was real hand wavy. That was kind of classic next generation pet technobabble.
Well, I mean, this is like theoretical science that's in the 24th century. Actually, probably 25th at this point, or close to it. 3 years out. It's actually set in 2397. So it's just a little while away from the 25th century here.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I've never minded the quote unquote lack of science in Star Trek. I mean, it's all fantasy, man.
No, right. Me neither. This particular one was like the fact that it had to be a twin. That seemed like a leap. There was nothing in there that was like, well, because of the way they're. I don't know. It could have used a little more fleshing out, but I'm fine with it.
And I'll be honest. I'm going to have a real problem with any criticism for anything that came out of Alison Pill's mouth, because I just love her.
Oh yeah, she was wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful in this.
I always I don't know, it's some kind of a weird crush I've had on her ever since Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, no,
and
she's
Newsroom.
Yeah, she's great.
Every time I see her, I'm like, yay!
Yeah, she's really great.
I'm sorry, I saw rainbows and sparkles when she was talking. What?
Yeah, I think that's somewhat deliberate. She's like. I'm going to really charismatically explain this science that is kind of weird and doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I'm going to charismatically explain it, and then we just move on, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be mad at it. Okay, I keep wanting to talk about this rogue synth attack and what it means for the Romulans. So it seems like everyone that was after Daj is Romulan. Mm-hmm. I love that in the first scene, one of them speaks Romulan. And they say, speak English, just to not give away that they're Romulan, but they don't say that it's Romulan. And so I guess if you're a big enough Star Trek linguophile, you would have known they were Romulan from that first scene, which I just think that's really neat.
Yeah.
It's a neat call. I did not know what language they were speaking myself, but I guess if you're big enough Star Trek, whatever. Yeah. But
I did not know.
I did not either. So I think one of the big mysteries that we're going to have going forward is like they say they never figured out why the synths attacked. Did you? And I think that's going to be an ongoing mystery. I think that something was done to cause the synths to attack, and it probably had to do with a faction within the Federation not wanting the Romulan exodus to happen. That's my best guess at this point.
You want to know what my guess is?
Section 31?
No. Well, maybe.
That's my best guess.
It could be, but my best guess is just like an insurrection, their ethical subroutine kicked in, and they were trying to stop something.
That's interesting, but killing a planet seems like a weird thing for ethical killing a planet that leads to the death of an entire sector of space seems like a weird, what are you stopping at that point that isn't that's worth all those lives?
What are you trying to stop?
And see, I think it's more likely. Well, they also said that they've never found another robot to attain sentience. So
right. So
I don't think the robots, these synths, were making these decisions for themselves, or maybe they were. But I have a feeling that these synths were being told to attack and Utopia Planitia was a sacrifice. Yeah, well, no, I was saying it was a sacrifice. They were willing to. I knew it. I know what Utopia Planitia is. I don't know the Romulan language, but I know what Utopia Planitia is. Come on, man.
I mean, I don't know what you know.
I'm just teasing. So my best guess is the Utopia Planitia shipyards were supposed to be some sort of sacrifice that they thought they were willing to make to destroy the fleets of ships they were sending out to save the Romulans, so that the Romulan people would perish. And my other part of that is I don't think they meant to nuke the whole planet. Because they said in that video, they say the rogue synth attack kills 3,000 people. I think that was the sacrifice they were willing to make. Like probably someone within Starfleet, probably Section 31, or maybe even the brass of Starfleet. Who knows? I think it was like a false flag operation type thing, and that whatever they say something ignited something in the atmosphere, and it's still on fire today, and it caused 92 million to die.
I think it was 92,000, but yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was a million. Okay. But anyway, they kill off the entire planet of Mars, basically. And I don't think that was on purpose. I think they meant to kill the 3,000 and meant to destroy the shipyards, and then something went wrong and they ignited that. That was just very specific language they used. And I think that, they meant to tell the synths to attack and destroy the ships and maybe the people around it. And somehow there was a mistake made and they destroyed all of Mars.
I would love it if somehow they tried to turn this into a twist where it was like the ethical subroutine came on or whatever, and that's the big twist because we suspect what I suspect is something like what you're talking about with the Federation pulling an Admiral Cartwright and trying to let one of the Federation's oldest enemies burn. Admiral Cartwright from Star Trek 6.
Right.
But I think I don't trust these guys completely enough to where I'm yeah, that'll be the thing. So I'm gonna stick with it was the ethical subroutine. Something was going on there, and maybe that part, what the 92,000 was, still an accident, but I think they'll try to do something with that. Yeah,
I think for sure. I think that's going to be one of the bigger mysteries of the season. I think that because I think these Romulans. I think they lost a lot of Romulans, as a lot of Romulan lives, or as Picard said, lives.
It was so good.
So good, man. It's so good.
Starfleet is no longer Starfleet.
It's so good. It's so good. I love the allusion to Dunkirk, which I've never seen the movie, and I know a little bit about the story of Dunkirk, but I'm going to go watch that movie this week just to know more about Dunkirk. Which is probably not the best way to learn about Dunkirk, but it's the easiest.
Well, Wikipedia is the easiest for me. I can just kind of glance over and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like I know what happened, and that actually, I forget. This is really sad. I was on Trekcast this week, and I also listened to a lot of other podcasts, Star Trek podcasts, and I don't know which one of them was talking about this, but one of them was complaining about how at the shipyards where the synth attack is happening, it's all old ships. And someone was like, well, they just needed ships. They were like 100-year-old ships. And they were like, yeah, they just needed ships to go get people from Romulus. So, it makes sense they'd be old ships. And I like that that's kind of confirmed here, because that's what happened with Dunkirk. Is that, do you know the story of Dunkirk at all?
I'm not terribly.
I know very little, and I probably only know it because when the movie came out, they did a lot of like documentaries and stuff around it. But basically, the British fleet was almost destroyed in, I think, World War One. I may be wrong. Anyway, the British fleet was almost destroyed, and all these servicemen were just basically left to die, and so a bunch of old like fishing boats and like all these civilian vessels just went across the ocean to pick up all the army men or whatever, all the navy men who were like stranded on boats that were like being attacked from the air and stuff constantly. So it's like this amazing story of like the civilian population rallying together to go save a bunch of army and navy men.
Gotcha.
And so that's exactly what it sounds like here. Like these 100-year-old ships that are like old ships that, aren't the military. They aren't the most, advanced thing. They're just being used. They need a bunch of cruisers to go pick up, the stuff. I thought that was really neat.
I love this because this explains a big plot hole or a bit unexplained thing in the 2009 Star Trek movie, which is, why did the Federation not try to go and get the Romulans out if they knew about it? Right.
I want to know what Picard did, because we still don't know. His friends say, we still know what you did. And when the reporter is interviewing him, she said, the Federation decided to not save the people of Romulus. And he was like, yeah, but I wasn't going to listen to the Federation. Basically, I did what I had to do. It was our duty to save as many lives as possible. And she's like, Romulan lives? It's no lives. And that's so he did something to try to save as many people as possible. And I love that. Here's my guess of how he saved lots of Romulans.
Okay.
Total idea. He went around from planet to planet, storing as many people in his transporter buffers as possible.
Huh.
I don't know. Seems like a good idea, right? You just
yeah,
because you can't fit too many on a ship, but you could fit a lot of people in the transporter buffers if you have big enough hard drives. So basically, like, fly around the galaxy with one ship, saving billions. How cool would that? That's like a Picard worthy thing. I don't know. Anyway, that's my idea.
I mean, it's theoretical science, so I mean, I can't say. I don't know.
It would take some technobabble, but it's just a random thought. I don't know. I'm just having fun, man.
Scotty lived inside of a transporter buffer for 80 years.
Exactly. That's where Picard got the idea.
By the way, man, Data looks good.
Oh yeah, great.
I sent you that link. When they started putting out the very new the newest trailers, and I was like, they fixed Data.
Yeah. It never bothered me, but I know it bothered some, including yourself. But yeah, I think he looks fine. I think it's good.
It actually bothered Marina Sirtis and Brent Spiner. He was like, the early stuff, it didn't look finished, and like Marina Sirtis is like, you looked like shit. Oh man. Yeah. All right. So I guess Daj.
See, so when all this is going on, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I thought we might be in a situation where there's like lots of synths hiding amongst us, but and there still might be. Maddox could have made 50 of these by now, you know? But Dodge does seem to have a mom. Or is she real? There was a part of me that thought maybe Dodge's mom was like part of her programming talking to her.
That's interesting. I think the mom is a real person, but I think she's in league with Bruce Maddox.
I think so too. That's the way it finally settled for me. But like, yeah. Oh yeah, it's so cool. They have the Stargazer in there, man. Like all his ships. They have all his ships that he's been. They don't show them all, I don't think, but the ships that he was captain of. That's so neat. And they have this little pleasure cruise, like the captain's cruise vessel or whatever from the one thing, right? Isn't that what that one thing is? The captain shuttle.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. From the Enterprise E, right?
Yeah, it just like kind of popped out of the top.
Yeah, that's on there. That's so cool.
Or no, but maybe it popped out of the bottom.
I thought it was the bottom. I thought it was
bottom of the saucer. Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah. What else? Anything else?
Oh man,
I love all the stuff with Maddox. I do think we'll eventually get to meet him.
Oh yeah, I think so.
And apparently Maddox created Lal. Or I keep calling her Lal. I think as Dodge. I kept thinking for the first half of the episode I thought she was Lal, so I kept thinking, it's Dodge. I kept thinking Lal, and I'm probably going to call her that forever. Okay, so Dodge was apparently created by Maddox. She was given a mother somehow. I don't know if she was actually. She says something about her father in this episode, and I wonder if that is Maddox. Like if Maddox raised her, or if Maddox, somehow just put her with a family, or I just don't know. Whoever she's with, if that mother is real and not part of her programming, they know about the whole thing and know about Picard.
Oh, this is interesting. This show decanonizes the J.J. Abrams Countdown comics.
Yes, because Data does not. There was no Captain Data.
Right. B4 did not go on to become Data.
Yeah, it's true. So that's weird.
It's like how Dumb and Dumber 2 went out of its way to decanonize Dumb and Dumberer.
Sure, that's a reference you can make. Okay, that's the middle of the night. I'm getting punchy. So I'm excited about Soji Asha, and I know it's partially from the trailers, so I guess spoiler alert, some of this is from the trailers, but clearly that guy that's talking to her is trying to manipulate her somehow. And knows her secret. Part of that made me think that was the fact that he's Romulan, because all the Romulans are after him. I actually think the Romulans are probably good guys, and I think the Romulans are trying to uncover the plot that the Federation, whatever splinter faction the Federation caused the Mars attack, which in turn caused the death of so many Romulans. I think that I think this group of Romulans, the ones that killed Dodge, are actually trying to solve the puzzle of what happened at Mars to cause that. Who's responsible for Mars, and then in turn responsible for the death of a lot of Romulans. Yeah, that's my thought.
I don't know what my thoughts are. I don't know who to trust. I kind of feel like my wife has been watching. She's been watching Sneaky Pete on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And I watched a few episodes of it, and I'm really into it, but she works from home, so she can just binge watch stuff. And she far surpassed me. She's almost over the series. But I just keep getting texts and stuff that just say, I don't know what's a con and what isn't a con. So that's kind of what I feel like here. I'm like, I don't know who's good and who's bad, but let me ask you this though: do you think B4 will actually be a working thing by the end of this show? Do you think Brent Spiner will come back?
I don't. No.
I don't know.
Mostly because I read those articles about Brent Spiner not wanting Data to Data's death to be undone, and I think that means he probably doesn't want to like return as Data in or as even as B4. And let's face it, no one really wants B4 to be around. We would like Data back, but we don't really want B4.
Well, if B4 is essentially Data, if he has like Data's memories, he would be Data.
They said in this that he's not. He never was able to achieve that, and so it'd be kind of retconning to go back and say like, oh, we figured it out. He's Data now.
Well, if all of his memories are inside of Soji,
right.
Then aren't you doing the same thing?
Yes. Well, except it's a different character who's lived a different life. It's just like you talk about with Lal and Data. Lal died, but Data took on all of her memories, so she could be remembered. It's the way that androids assimilate the deaths of their family, basically, and I think that's an interesting thing that they're playing with here. So yeah, they'll have Data's memories possibly, and clearly they have some of Data's memories because they have this like deep affection for Picard. At least Dodge did, but I don't think they're ever going to be Data because they've lived an entire life that has made them who they are.
Yeah. I think this show was a testing ground for Brent Spiner. And I think if it goes well and he thinks it looked good I think he might come back. I really do. Okay.
I see that's the other part of why I don't think he'll come back. I think that it's expensive to do that de-aging stuff. And I think that doing it for a couple of scenes in a dream sequence is one thing, but like having him walking around being Data again would be expensive. And I don't think probably not going to do it.
I wouldn't think that they would like do it extensively. Right. I mean, it's a 10-episode season.
I think it's more likely in like season 3 he'll show up as Lore.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah, like one good Lore episode. Now that I could absolutely see, because Lore is absolutely still around and alive. That's the other thing is like they're talking about Data and replicating Data and like how the positronic brain and how they needed his brain to make it work. They had Lore. What happened to Lore? Yeah. Why did they have to wait? Yeah. Why did they have to use B4's positronic brain that was apparently inferior to do this? Man,
I think that'll come up.
It's very possible.
Because they never said what happened to Lore's body at the end of Descent.
Nope.
All we know is Data shut him off.
Yep. Data shut him down and decommissioned him or whatever. In his maniacal destruction of androids that he's done his entire life.
And if they've figured out androids well enough to create androids that are flesh and blood and believe that they're real, I mean, we know Dr. Soong had because of Data's mother. I mean, I don't see a reason they couldn't figure out how to get Lore's brain back, or Data's, transfer Data's brain over into Lore or whatever. Like, I think Maddox has been doing all this on the sly. I think he's holed up somewhere doing this secretly.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Obviously,
man, this is fun. I love it, man.
Isn't that fun? Isn't it fun, like, speculating what Data and Lore might be doing these days?
It's absolutely great. It's absolutely fun. And you know what else is fun? Like, they've already created characters I'm interested in who are brand new. Soji seems nice. She's a human who's out helping Borg, ex-Borg deborg themselves like that. That seems like a noble pursuit. So she's already a person I'm interested in knowing more about. But also we've seen that she has the ability to fight like Dodge did. When Dodge leapt like 30, 40 feet to fight those Romulans, it was just a blast, man. And it's like combining
literally boo. No, I can't believe you said it was a blast. That's too soon, man.
Combining this sort of storytelling where they've actually got interesting stuff happening with the like the ethics of Starfleet and Picard and his past and androids and Borg and all this stuff that's like really interesting ethically and like just from like the heart of the story. Even just Dawes trying to understand if she's a monster because she's been raised to believe androids are monsters, probably because of a lie. Like all of that is fascinating and good storytelling and stuff I'm interested in. But also, I just am going to get to see like a River Tam style android fight, you know? Mm-hmm. We know at some point Soji is going to get activated and she's going to flip out and have that fighting ability. It's very similar. Like in Firefly, when we know there's one episode in Firefly where River, sorry to go off on a total Firefly tangent, River uses a gun and shoots 3 men and like really easily. And you're like, oh, she has that ability. And then it's not until the movie that you see it again, you know? And it's just, that's what we got here. We got Dodge does all this badass stuff. And now we just know that's somewhere within Soji as well.
Yeah, man.
That's just fun. It's just total fun. It's nothing to do with like it. Well, it's a storytelling device. It's that sort of like, it's a Chekhov's gun, you know? Sorry, I've never gotten to use the term Chekhov's gun when talking about Star Trek, and I always want to make a Chekhov joke. Mm-hmm. And now would be the time, but nothing's coming to me.
I made a Chekhov's gun joke one time while I was talking about the Star Trek the original series episode Spectre of the Gun, and in that episode Chekhov got shot.
Oh, that's funny.
Or at least the way as I remember it, he did.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this show, and I'm really excited because right before I watched it, I saw a headline where it said Patrick Stewart officially invited Whoopi Goldberg to come back as Guinan in season 2, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
yes.
Did you watch that video?
No.
Yeah, there's a video that he came on The View, and on The View asked her to come being part of Picard. He's like, I have the showrunner has said I can do this, and like asked her to come on the show, and apparently she didn't even know is the way the story is written and the way they act on the show, and she just gets all smiley and excited, and he's asked her to return for season 2. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. That's so great. And yeah, I'm excited about that because there was a ton about Guinan we never found out. Like I would love to. Oh my God, I want Q back.
Oh yeah,
I do.
Me too.
And we don't have to worry about John Delancey being old because, as we know from All Good Things, he looks old sometimes.
Yeah,
he looks old when Picard is old.
Well, exactly. That's something the guys on TrekCast said the other day that when I was on.
Oh, cool.
They said, of course he can look old. When he appeared to Picard, he appeared as like a 40-year-old man because he was appearing to a 40-year-old human. Like, of course he appeared as a 40-year-old human, but if he's appearing to a 92-year-old human, he's probably going to appear like a 92-year-old human. And I'm like, yeah, that makes absolute sense.
I mean, he literally did it in All Good Things.
Yes, absolutely did. So, okay, let's see. I think the Romulans I think the Romulans are trying to solve this issue. And they say in here that, creating the synths is a violation of a galactic treaty. Which do you think that has to do with the Romulans? Like, because it seemed, I wonder who wants the synths outlawed. Is it the Federation or is it the Romulans or?
If it was the Federation, that would still be a galactic treaty.
That's true. It's true because they are multiple planets and everything. Yeah, that's true. I'm curious how the Romulans feel about synths because obviously the synth attack is what caused the Federation to turn inward and protect itself instead of, going forward. Yeah. I'm really interested to see where all that goes. I think that's like the big mystery of the season. I think figuring all that out.
Yeah, I hate that they like. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you just have like a rogue group of synths,
yeah,
it would just like there would have to be some like specific big wig thing going on for them to actually like outlaw all synthetic life.
Yeah. Well, apparently it does not. That does not count for holographic.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Because they do have a hologram in here, which is a whole other thing. Is what's happening with holograms? You got the whole holonovel, photons be free, all that stuff.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Bring the doctor from Voyager back.
Oh, 100%. 100% they should bring the doctor back.
If you don't do that, it wouldn't make any sense.
Sense. They don't make any sense. It's the Federation. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. Oh man. I loved Dodge, how she started in this episode. Like from the very beginning, she says, I thought she was going to be Data's daughter. I watched that Law episode today, and then when she's with her boyfriend at the very beginning, he's like, "You look like you have a secret. Is it a happy secret?" And she says it is, and that made me think, okay, so she is, what her existence is, whatever the secret is, whatever this big mystery of Dodge is going to be a positive. Like it's not going to be whatever. I was like, I thought that was neat. So that immediately made me think, oh yeah, it might be. And then she said the android shit, and I was like, this definitely somehow Data's daughter.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier today, I was just I was at work in my own little head. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about anyway at work. So, but I was just in my head. I was just like, what if somehow she's Data's daughter and the daughter of the Borg Queen and the daughter of Locutus? Because they could have a whole soup over there in Borg country. Well, I mean, and it's funny that Soji, or is that her name? Soji? If she's working with the Borg, all right.
Yeah.
And Bruce Maddox found solace in working with the synthetic life. He used his knowledge to help synthetic, organic beings who were abducted and are part synthetic. If he used his expertise for that, and he had some sort of connection with the Borg, and he used some of their technology to figure out the rest of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
is possible.
Yeah, they could find a way to I have this from Data, and also there's this other AI program running around in here that was partially the Borg Queen, and she merged with freaking Data, who had both Law and maybe lore inside of his head. Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of fun, almost Doctor Who-ish ways of solving all of this and bringing back almost anyone at this point. Especially now that we know that one neuron of Data can bring back an entire consciousness, or at least the elements of his consciousness. That's big. That's a big piece of tech that they've created in this episode, and it kind of could bring back a lot of characters, especially with the connection to the Borg, like you mentioned. And then he becomes a space baby. He goes back in time and becomes Control. Yeah, they could do that. That's a reference you could make. Stop saying that. It excites me for Soji. The first line that that Dodge says to Picard, and she says, "Do you know me?" And then he doesn't say anything. He says, "You're not sure. How do I know that?" I loved that, man. I love it so much. I love it so much. I loved his stirring speech about how he's just been laying around waiting to die. Yeah, I haven't been living. I've been waiting to die, and then he realizes that choked me up, man. Yeah, but now he has a mission. He says he has a mission, and he's going to be hard to stop now. He's been sitting around because he's been dejected because of how the Federation has treated, the androids and the Romulans. These people that he worked his entire career to try to bring closer together to the Federation, and bring androids
like rights, you know, and now he's basically it's failed. You know, his whole career worked toward those goals, and those goals failed.
Absolutely.
So, so good, so good.
Yep. I'm brimming with excitement and hope for this series, and I'm excited because Kurtzman said that we're getting both the ridged Romulans and the smoothed head Romulans, so we might actually be getting an answer to that out of all these years.
Well, I think the answer, if we're getting both, the answer is probably just there's different kinds of Romulans. I mean, we also know there's like Remans, like are apparently cousins.
Like Nosferatus.
Yeah, they're like seems like being Romulan is a spectrum.
I've always hated that, but whatever.
Right. But it just seems like they're going with this broad definition of Romulans can be all the things you've seen as Romulans. And I'm guessing they'll probably do something similar with the Klingons, although it's just kind of dumb with the Discovery Klingons where it's like they're all Klingons and they all look the same. Like it'd be one thing if they had some Klingons that looked weird in Discovery, and then you had some that looked like classic Klingons, and maybe even some that looked like original series Klingons, whatever, but like they all look the same and they're all that weird double nostril shit. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Why did I bring that up?
Quote unquote, that weird double nostril shit.
So I am so excited. Give me the single thing you're most excited about to see in this season.
All the things,
whether you know it's coming or not.
What? I don't know.
I don't know whether it's something that's revealed or something that like in the trailers or something that like I'm really excited to see Hugh and 7 of 9 in some sort of assault team on that board on like the Borg cube or whatever. Like I'm really excited about that, but I'm also excited to see if we hear about lore. You know, like it could be anything.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, right now, the thing I am most excited about that I know is happening is a more human badass 7 of 9. Because I watched Voyager all those years wondering, like, when are they going to get to the point where 7 is actually acting like a person?
Right.
And now it looks like she is. And I always wanted to see that version of 7 where she's like finally moved on.
I wonder if the same turning inward after the Utopia Planitia incident, I wonder if that same turning inward is what caused the Federation to not pursue helping the Borg in their disarray after, and I wonder if that's why. I know we've heard reports of 7 of 9 is not very happy with the Federation and views Picard as a representative of them. I wonder if the whole thing where he's, you know, turned, like as I said, the Federation turned inward and turned to protectionism. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm really excited about the new crew, honestly.
I don't know them yet.
I don't either, but I'm really excited about the idea of building a crew, and the things we've seen in the trailer with just like it being sort of a, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's reminding me of Firefly, man.
Yeah.
It's just like a crew full of people that have their own interests and their own reasons for joining the crew that aren't necessarily, some seem like they might be like hired guns and some seem like they might be old. Some are hired guns, a la Jane. Some are old friends, a la Zoe, you know, like, well, actually, it's the black woman too, is an old friend. Like, it just feels like, an old friend from times when they were at war together, you know, like it feels like they're putting together a Firefly style crew with Picard at the helm. And that's just awesome. That's like something I never knew I could get in my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just excited about Alison Peel.
Me too. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, Allison, my love.
She's a weird mix of Kaylee and Simon. Somebody's doing some Firefly stuff on this, you know.
I have been brought Allison Pill and Star Trek. My loves.
Oh, well, I think that's about all the time we got for tonight. It is 4 a.m. We stayed up to bring you guys this immediately after the episode. So
we did.
We watched it. And then we recorded for a full hour on it. So
yeah,
I hope you enjoyed. If you're new to the cast, please hit us up. We're at Star Trek UCast on all the places. You can shoot us a review on Apple iTunes, things like that. That would be very helpful. Apple Podcasts or whatever. Really, really helps us out and helps people find the show. We are appreciative of you guys checking us out, and we'll be back soon with more Star Trek Picard. And just go. Oh, and I guess I should mention this. I'm going to be writing a song. I'm a musician, and I'm going to be writing a song about every episode of Picard. So I will be writing a song about this, and we'll be dropping it in the feed in a few days, as well as another episode where we kind of maybe dig a little deeper. I don't know if we're going to. We dug pretty deep, honestly. So we might just drop the song.
Drop your song. I think we're good.
I think we were pretty good. We'll see how we feel in a couple days. We may be like, I got things to say. But yeah, we went pretty deep on this.
I got shit needs to get off my mind.
So if that sounds interesting to you, please stick around and please check the feed, because I'll be dropping a Star Trek Picard episode 1 related song, and I'm excited about it because this episode had a lot going on for it, and it'll be really fun.
All of his Picard primer episodes are badass, so
yes,
that's actually something to look forward to. I know as a podcast listener, I will go, I'm not going to listen to that, but I'm telling you, you'd be wrong.
Oh, well, thanks.
Listen to them.
Thanks, man. And I worked really hard. I made a 10-song album about sort of the life and times of Picard, Data, and the Borg in preparation for this. Just as we're going to have so many new people, I'm going to throw the first one is most related to this episode too. The song No is about Measure of a Man, which will actually be on Spotify and iTunes in a couple days. I'm going to drop it at the end of this episode just so you guys can, any newcomers can hear that and maybe be inspired to follow along with the progress of this next 10-song album. It's going to be about Picard, the series. So
yep. It's a great song too. My wife and I still sing that around the house. It's weird.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, man. I wasn't lying when I said it was an earworm.
Yeah, I sing it myself. This song that I would play is the reason I wrote the whole album, and actually the reason I'm writing both albums, I guess, because I got inspired, wrote a Data song, and then I just ended up going real deep on it for the last 15 weeks and wrote an album, and now I'm starting another one. So this one will be on iTunes in 3 weeks or so. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, super pumped. All right. And if you want to hear those songs, they're all in our podcast feed in the Picard Primer episodes. So go check out those if you like what we did today. And if you like the song that is right here, peace.
Live long, bask in the prosper.
I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me. You don't own me. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me. You don't own me. This man wants to take me apart. He says because I don't have a heart, I can't take a stand. But I think I can. I have served this ship for many years because I believed in what we'd achieve. We'd find new life and we would recognize it when we do. But then what did you do? I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me. You don't own me. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me. You don't own me. I can't believe I stand on trial. Not because my actions are vile, but because you can't see all I am. I know what it is to wrong and lose. Yeah, I've known love, a fully functional love. there will be more like me. A perpetual slavery, unless we stand, me and my friends, and defend new life. It's different from your life, but I just want to choose life. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me, you don't own me. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me, you don't own me. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me, you don't own me. I'm a metal man with a positronic brain, but you don't own me, you don't own me.
To reach out to us, hit us up at StarTrekUcast.com, at StarTrekUcast on Twitter, or search for the Star Trek Universe Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. And if you want to hear more from David C. Robertson, search for the DC On Screen podcast in your podcast app now, or go to maladjusted.tv for his comedy sketches. If you want to hear more from me, Matthew Carroll, search for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or the Orville Universe podcast in your podcast app, or check out my music. Just search for Matthew Carroll wherever you listen to music.